Hello, Lynette here. As we enter into our holiday season, I've had a lot of thoughts about what Christmas means to a lot of Americans and have had a lot of thoughts that were not terribly positive about the state of affairs that we have come to with our censorship and our taking away of our freedom of speech. And this is all tied to the slippery slope that's happened with the celebration of Christmas. I remember I was a child of the 60s and grew up in a middle-class neighborhood in inner Seattle. And at the time, we actually had a music class every single day when we got to be a certain age. And we learned Christmas carols. And I know Christmas carols, backwards, forwards, up and down, harmonies, you name it. And I'm talking the traditional, the Joy of the World, the Little Town of Bethlehem, O Holy Night, that came upon a midnight clear. And these are all very religiously based carols, obviously. And we learned the other ones, the Jingle Bells and all this kind of stuff. But nobody even thought anything about it. It was just, these were Christmas songs, and we were a predominantly, well, until 1967, we were a completely white school. And then they started busing kids. That was a trial balloon by the city of Seattle for taking African-American children and bringing them up to the white neighborhoods, taking them out of their neighborhoods and putting them in white schools, which didn't work well at all, but that's another story. But even those kids were Americans, and they didn't think, I mean, they may have been a different race, but they were certainly Americans, and nobody thought anything about it. It was just, you learned Christmas carols, and you made Christmas trees, and maybe a couple teachers would even have a little creche in the corner with the baby Jesus and the manger with the hay and the whole thing. And but even in the 60s, it wasn't the schools didn't do a religious thing with Christmas. If you made, an art class, you'd make a Christmas tree or a fancy Christmas ornament or something of this sort. So it was fairly tame. Nobody could really complain about it. But then my daughter, she's grew up went to grade school in the 80s, and already at that point we were seeing a lot of this crunching down and taking away of traditional Christmas in the schools because you couldn't offend anyone. This was the big thing. Don't want to offend the Jewish people. Oh, that's really bad. And then by the time my son, he's 6 years later, he came into school, and we didn't want to offend anybody. That was just right out. So let's just take Christmas out of the school because after all, it is a religious holiday. Well, but the point of fact, it's an American celebration. Americans take Christmas very seriously. And it doesn't really matter whether you're Jewish or Christian or atheist. Doesn't matter. We all have our own way. I myself am an atheist. I was raised in a Christian household, and I totally get the Bible story. I mean, that's in my head. And even now, I look at the Bible story as a very sweet story. And you can't take out of Christmas the fact that it is about the birth of Jesus. That's what it's based on. So how you celebrate it, how I celebrate it, and he celebrates it, we're all going to be different. And that's okay. It's very American. But the liberals have ruined it. The do-gooders, the progressives, they've ruined it. Like they've ruined everything by saying you can't celebrate Christmas, period, because somebody's going to feel offended. What about the little kids in the school that feel offended that they don't get to do anything for it? That they don't get to make a special ornament for mom for the Christmas tree? Or they don't get to make a Christmas card for somebody and use glitter? All the little fun things that we would do when we were kids for Christmas, gone. You can't even say Merry Christmas. Fortunately, that had a little backlash here a couple years ago where people started, actually maybe when Donald Trump took office, he said, you know what, I say Merry Christmas. And I do too. When I'm in a grocery store or whatever, I will say Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. That's stupid. It's Christmas. So I think we all need to put our big boy pants on and say, screw the progressives, screw the liberal ideology about how we can't offend anybody, and bring Christmas back into the public sphere. And again, it's not about religion. It has evolved, and it has changed. And yes, it's commercialized. And yes, there's a lot of non-believers that do things for Christmas, but that's how we've made it work in our society as one of the best holidays. Oh no, the best holiday. I love Christmas. And I hate to see this taking away of its glitz and glamour and glitter and made into something shameful just because they're afraid they're going to offend somebody. I don't care if there's 5 Muslim kids in the grade school that are going to have their feelings wounded. When I was in grade school in this part of Seattle, there's a pretty large Jewish community that was there. We had a lot of Jewish kids in our class, in our school. And there was never any, oh, we can't talk about Christmas because the Jewish kids are going to be upset. Everybody knew who was Jewish, and we knew that they had a special way of celebrating their holiday, which seemed rather exotic at the time. And they had that menorah thing. That was pretty cool. And they didn't have a Christmas tree, which I thought was very unfortunate for them because I just love Christmas trees. And, it was just like, kids are very flexible. And the Jewish kids didn't scream and rant how you can't do this Christian thing because it upsets me. Nobody thought about that. Nobody has any scars. Nobody's had to go to therapy because of they celebrated a holiday that they didn't, weren't part of. So screw them. Let's just bring Christmas back into our schools. If you've got kids in school, at least go and poke at the principal and say, what are you doing for Christmas? I want to know. I want to have a concert where you do Christmas songs. Watch the principal have a heart attack. Remember those Christmas concerts where the first graders would get up there and they'd sing Silent Night, and the second graders would get up there and sing A Little Town of Bethlehem, and they were all really horrible, but it was great. And when you went home, you felt really good. So I would like to see Christmas come back to being Christmas. Screw the progressives. And anyway, something to think about. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.